About a month ago, I made a comment on someone's video that has gotten over 1,000 likes. And I basically just said that I had finally surrendered to the concept of just being alive as being enough. And I think that in our society, especially in our American society, we have this pressure that we have to achieve or fulfill or pursue things, and that's what makes us successful. And I feel like that's the greatest, biggest lie that we could ever be sold, is that we have to do something to be good enough. And the reason why that works perfectly well for the people who want it that way is it keeps us chained to production. But moving to a natural area where I get to see the deer traipsing through my backyard every day, and just watching other wildlife and stuff like that has been amazing from the standpoint that I get to kind of see how life was meant to be. And life was meant to be lived. The point of life is to be alive. So I think it's important to ask ourselves who benefits from us thinking that there's something we have to achieve or fulfill or do to be acceptable or good enough. And I would imagine that the people who benefit from us thinking that are the people who are usually financially benefiting from us, toiling away, trying to accomplish all these things. But as I've kind of tried to teach some of these concepts to especially my older kids, my younger two, that seems easy for them because for them, they're 7. Being alive is being alive, right? But for the older ones especially, it's like, so what do you expect me to do, Mom? Just sit here and do nothing for the rest of my life? And it's actually quite the opposite. That's the irony, is that I think that from what I learned from my own personal experience, and it's totally could be different for anyone else, but what I've learned is that the more I accept just being alive as being good enough, the more I'm unhindered and freed up to actually figure out what it is I do actually want to be doing. So rather than just operating like there's, somebody with a whip behind you, go, 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 faster, 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 more, more, more. When we unsubscribe to that, then we can pay attention to that voice inside of us that tells us what we do want to do. So what I've found is that I've accomplished more by releasing the need to accomplish. I've achieved more by releasing the need to achieve. That wasn't the way that I intended it to be. I didn't do that as some sort of backwards way of achieving. But I just think that's kind of the beautiful irony, is that we're alive. That's good enough. Whatever, animal that comes into our life or comes into this earth is alive, and that's good enough. And then when it's time to not be alive, that's good enough too. And that's a natural part of life. And so I think the reason why my comment resonated with so many people is that it feels really freeing to sort of give ourselves permission to be good enough just the way that we are. And ultimately, I think that's why Mr. Rogers was so popular and enduring in our society, is you are special just the way you are.